We now have more on our top story today, the news that Veterans Affairs head Eric Shinseki has resigned. For more details on this story, we are joined by Rick Weidman in Washington, D.C. He is the Executive Director for Policy and Government Affairs for the Vietnam Veterans of America organization. Rick, thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me.
I do appreciate it. It seemed like that there was mixed sentiment about whether or not Eric Shinseki should resign. I heard a number of veterans that thought that he should, and a number that didn't see the need in that. Then in the report so far, there's no evidence that Shinseki nor his staff knew of the cover-up, particularly in Phoenix. So what does removing him from his post accomplish at this point?
Well, I think that the general saw that he had become a distraction with all the press going back and forth of should he go, should he stay. We did not call for his resignation because, quite frankly, the genesis of the problem of scheduling is not enough clinicians, that's the basic fact, to serve the number of needs. And particularly because the census, or the number of people who utilize VA, has risen by 1.5 million over the last 3.5 years. And yet the staff has only gone up about 7% in terms of, and it's even lower if you just do those who are doing clinical work per se, in other words, direct hands-on care. So the basic situation is unchanged, if you will. And frankly, we're calling on the president in our press release this afternoon to take dramatic action, and we outlined some 14 steps that we believe are useful in terms of moving forward and making sure that America's veterans get the best care anywhere and that they have proper access in a timely way to quality care.
Rick, unfortunately, we don't have time for you to elucidate all 14 of those points, but can you take me through one or two of the recommendations that your organization has made to the president?
First off is right now you got a problem at many places where you have people in waiting lists who have not been thoroughly assessed on major diseases that may affect them based on their military service and based on their age. So what we propose and recommended to the president is he mobilize Guard and Reserve Hospital, mobile hospital units, and or FEMA hospital units to come in and do the screening to make sure that the people who are in line waiting for initial assessment don't have any of the 10 to 12 major killers of veterans within the VA system. That would be something that can happen as early as next week, and we believe should happen as early as next week. The second thing is rewriting everybody's job description, who's a supervisor on up to the network directors, that if job item number one, if you lie or cause subordinates to lie or falsify or don't tell the whole truth and you're reporting up the line, then you will be subject to immediate suspension and proceedings to dismiss. You've got to break this corporate culture where it's okay to lie, because it's not okay to lie. And frankly, Secretary Shinseki was such an honorable man, he couldn't believe that people would systematically lie to his face in an unblushing way. And the third major thing is redeploying clinical staff. You've got folks who were trained as clinicians, but now essentially are performing administrative work. What we need is more people to do the do. In other words, Congress had these huge increases between 2007 and FY 2007 and FY 2011, and reasonable increases since then to provide more service providers, is to hire more people to actually help care for veterans. And unfortunately, too much has gone into rather high-paying positions that don't add materially to the enterprise.
Rick, is this a matter of there is enough money allocated to the VA, but perhaps it's not used properly, as you've just alluded to, or there's not enough money allocated? It was just in February when Congress, 40 members of the GOP voted against a bill that would have expanded funding to Veterans Affairs. So is there enough money that needs to be spent better, or not enough money?
Well, it's both. That's not a simple answer, but We've been yelling about accountability and testifying to the Congress for the last 15 years straight that we need greater accountability on how the money is used. Yes, we need more money. And currently, we recommend that they seek an emergency appropriation of 2-year money, it's called, for health care. And part of it to expand the organizational capacity of clinicians at VA hospitals, and part of it is to buy care on the open market, if you will. In other words, purchase care from private providers until they can build up the organizational capacity. But the accountability has to go hand in hand with the increase in dollars.
We'll have to leave it right there for now. Rick Weidman, thank you so much, Rick.
Thank you.